Hello and welcome to the Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friend. If you've been looking for a podcast geared towards your growth, self-awareness, navigating your brain's daily mind drama, and deep inner work to become your highest and best self, you are in the perfect place. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Becoming Your Highest Self podcast. Happy Monday. If you're listening to this as soon as it launches, then it will be Monday morning. So I hope that you all had an amazing Thanksgiving holiday. I know that I did. We had to go to 3 different homes on Thanksgiving, and one of them was a friend of my husband who welcomed us into their home as if we were already family, which I loved. I thought that was so sweet. And then my family and then his family. So we made it all work. We were gone, I think, from 2 to 11 p.m., making it all work, but it was a lot of fun. So hopefully you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. So before we dive into today's topic, I thought I'd just fill you guys in on what's been going on with me because it's been a hot minute. So this weekend especially, I have spent a gajillion hours, it feels like, working and redesigning and deleting and adding things to my website, which is such a task. I do all of that on my own. I could outsource it, but at this point, whenever I have money to invest and reinvest into my business, I typically hire a coach or do a coaching program that really excites me. And so I love creative things, so it always seems like a good idea and seems very logical that I would be the one to design my website, considering I love creative outlets. But then I get about 3 hours in and I'm wanting to rip my hair out. And I'm so darn frustrated because it doesn't always look the way that I see it in my head. And I'm like, this is why people outsource, so that the vision you see in your head, someone else can make it come to life, hopefully without pulling their hair out. So that was really interesting. But basically, I was working on a new page in my group coaching because I have a new program getting ready to launch, and I was trying to add that to my website, and I'm so excited to share with you all what that is. So I thought I'd give you a little sneak peek over the podcast, and you all will be the first to know about it and to hear about it, other than some close friends of mine. So I'll give you a little quick background story on this before we dive into today's topic. So a few months ago, I was working with a coach, Mandy Perry. I absolutely love her vibe, her energy. She is just phenomenal and kind of like the kick in the rear that I have needed. And she said something so simple yet so profound, and it really had me doing deep reflection, hopefully like my podcast makes you do when you're hearing certain topics and whatnot, certain phrases that come out of my mouth. It maybe hits you in the soul and you're like, what the what? Hopefully that happens for you sometimes in the episodes. So Mandy said, I give until it triggers me. I just continue to give to my clients until it triggers me. And I was like, wow, that is so profound for me, because what I find a lot of times in the business industry, really across all types of different businesses, is that sometimes we withhold information and the things that we know because we're afraid of things like if we share everything that we know, like if we teach every single thing that we know, what will we have left to teach, or what will we have left to talk about, or will somebody learn all of that information and then be better than me? Like, it's such an ego thing to withhold information in fear that if somebody else gets the information, they might do it differently or better or whatever. So when she said she gives everything away until she's triggered, she's always trying to reach that level of her business where it's like, can I give this away at this price? Oh my God, that scares me. I'm going to do it. Can I give it away and share all of my insider secrets and is that going to be okay? Oh my gosh, I'm afraid of it. I'm going to go do it. So a lot of times the things that are giving her fear, because she's going to be giving a lot away, when she recognizes that fear, she knows that she just needs to give it all away. And it hit me in my soul, you guys. I thought, oh my gosh, I know, and especially in my journey and seasons of growth, that there have been times where I have known information and I've been afraid to share it all because I'm like, what am I going to talk about if I share all of this stuff? And I think that's a common fear that comes up for a lot of business people, depending on what area they work in. But in addition, I mean, it's come up even with the podcast, right? If I share all of the things I know on the podcast, I still have content to coach my clients on. So it's a very real fear. And part of my work is to work through that and just continue to give and give and give and give and give until I'm triggered. And I learned that from her. So I have been thinking for months, racking my brain for months, how can I really, truly serve my clients? Because up until this point, the way that my clients have worked with me has been through one-on-one coaching. So that is 60-minute weekly coaching calls. They call me on the phone. We talk for an hour about anything in their life: love, relationships, business, life, money, all of the things. Like whatever they are facing in their life, they have 60 minutes a week to chat with me about that. And then the other way that women have worked with me, if they're not doing one-on-one, has been through my signature program, Inner Mastery, which you've probably heard me talk about several times on here. And that is 12 specific topics dedicated to diving deep and doing the inner work. And just really going in hard to completely rewire the mind and become who you're meant to be. It's a really awesome program. But those have been the only two ways that I've allowed people to work with me. And there's many coaches in the industry that have all of these offers, all of these different programs, and that hasn't at this point aligned with me. So one thing about me is if it doesn't feel in alignment, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to force myself and do what everybody else is doing, because if it doesn't feel good to me, it's going against my energy and it's not going to work out. I have to really do things that feel and flow. I do things that are uncomfortable. Yes, absolutely. But mostly I have to make sure that I feel in alignment with the things that I'm offering to my clients. So for months, I've been, really sitting and meditating. What would it be like to just give it all away? Like, what would truly trigger me? And then here is this new program I've birthed, and I'm now going to tell you the name of it. It is called Becoming Her Mastermind. And I am so excited to share with you guys the details on this. You're going to be hearing more and more about this, but it is an opportunity to work with me for a lifetime. So if you've been curious about doing this work, the personal development, diving in, doing the inner work, doing the mindset work, learning things about money, energy, manifestation, all of it, like literally everything that I have learned over the last 5.5 years from my coaches, from books, from podcasts, from investing over $20,000 in mentors, all of it I am giving away in the Becoming Her Mastermind, and it's lifelong. So once you make that investment, you're in that program for life. You get access to every new program that I launch in 2020 and beyond. Like, you pay that one-time payment or you do the installment, and you have lifelong access to me in that group. So I'll be doing monthly coaching calls, specific topics, some Q&As where people can come and show up and get coached, much like in Inner Mastery. I will have, whoever is in it will have access to Inner Mastery every single time that it runs. They'll have access to my brand new money program coming out in 2020. They'll have access to Rewired every single time that I run that. They'll have access to my new manifestation and energy course that's going to be coming out in 2020. They'll have access to the workbooks and the worksheets and the journals and all of the things that I create in my business. Literally, I'm giving it all away. And what is so exciting too is that if someone decides they don't want to pay that one-time payment or the installments to be in it for a lifetime, and they maybe just want to hop in and hop out, they can do a monthly subscription payment and join us for the time that they enjoy being in there. And then if they ever feel like it's out of alignment for them, then they can hop out. We'll cancel their subscription. And then if they 6 months later wanted to come back in, they could do that. So I'm so excited because this has been something that's been on my heart and my mind for several months. And I've been, like, how would this work? How could this work? What types of things can I offer? And then it just hit me what Mandy said of just give until it triggers you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to open up this mastermind and literally teach every single thing that I know. And I'm so freaking excited about it. I'm so excited. So you are the first people to hear about that. I'm sorry that I took almost 10 minutes of your time talking about it. But if you've been looking for something where you can be coached for a lifetime and know that once you make that investment, you have no more investments to make. You get everything that I create, for free, essentially, because once you're in there, you don't pay anything ever again. You just have access to me as your coach in that group setting for lifetime. And I think that is such a cool thing. I wish that more of my coaches would have done that because you love being in their energy and their vibe. But a lot of times, we don't always do that because we do require that people are showing up for themselves and giving 110% effort. So my one-on-one coaching clients that pay me that way are paying more money, and that's because they're getting my undivided one-on-one attention for any of their needs and so on and so forth. So anyways, you're the first to hear about the Becoming Her Mastermind. You can check it out on my website, MacyRenee.com. So let's dive into today's topic, which is going to be all about the upcoming holidays and protecting your energy during this time of year, being present during this time of year, because this time of year can be very stressful. This is something I thought about talking about last week before Thanksgiving, but with Christmas, I think you're going to see a lot more people as well. So let's dive in, shall we? So one of the things that I hear the most around holidays is that it feels very stressful. How am I going to be around my sister-in-law who absolutely hates my guts? Or how am I going to be around my mother-in-law, when we don't fully get along, or my husband has issues with his mom? Or how am I going to be around my cousin whenever she did X, Y, and Z to me, right? And so a lot of times we go into the holidays almost already dreading it and already preparing our mind for the worst and why it's going to be absolutely horrible and all of the things, all of the mind drama around it. And a lot of times what I'm coaching my clients on is, how do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be when that family member approaches you and maybe has a snide, snarky remark or something, yucky to say? How do you want to respond when you are stepping into your highest and best self? Remember that the work that I'm teaching you to do in this podcast is to be the person you've always wanted to be. So let's say your Uncle Raymond, I don't know, I don't have an Uncle Raymond, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. Let's say your Uncle Raymond comes over to you and says something nasty. And in the past, like every single year that this happens, it's annoying, it's frustrating. You hate even going to Christmas because of Uncle Raymond. You're dreading it, right? Way before the event even happens, you're already like thinking, how do we get out of here? How do I avoid him? Oh my God, I don't want to deal with him. So you're not even living in a present moment. You're already living in a futuristic moment of preparing for the worst. So you're at Christmas, your Uncle Raymond approaches you, he says something nasty. Think about how you've always responded. Do you pop off? Do you say something nasty back? Do you, are you completely silent and maybe just let him degrade you if that's what he does? Think about how you always responded up until this point. The whole purpose of becoming your highest self and the reason that we do this work is for you to really embody who you desire to be. So maybe in the past, you've always argued with him. You've always completely lost your temper. You have let him affect your energy to the point where you are like ready to leave your family's Thanksgiving, and maybe he's the only issue, right? So what you're doing is you want to embody who you desire to be. Do you desire to be the woman that it doesn't even affect you because you've worked on your mindset enough, you've worked on yourself enough using personal development tools that him coming over to you literally has zero effect on your energy. And in fact, you can be cordial with him even when he's being icky because you've done the work. This is something that I think is really, really, really important because I think we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but a lot of times we blame other people for how we feel. Remember that no one is responsible for how you feel except for you. I know that that is always hard to hear, but it's something that you really, really have got to understand. Nobody can make you feel a certain way. Nobody actually has the ability to take their body, jump into yours and say, this is how you're going to feel. The reason that you feel bad, the reason that you feel annoyed, the reason that you feel frustrated, the reason you're feeling anything but love and light, right, are because of your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you're having about Uncle Raymond are going to affect the way that you're feeling in your body. So then when he comes up and approaches you, it doesn't really matter what he says. You've already got these preconceived things of how you're going to feel when you're around him. So then when he opens up his mouth and says anything or does anything, immediately, more than likely, you're going to be mad, sad, frustrated. You're going to shut down. You're going to feel like your entire energy field is ruined. But he actually didn't make you feel that way. It's your thoughts about Uncle Raymond, your past evidence on Uncle Raymond, maybe anything that he said or done in the past that you're now using in this moment, and those memories will make you feel a certain way. So part of taking responsibility and ownership is knowing that no matter what Uncle Raymond says or Aunt Teresa says or whoever it is says, that you get to decide how you want to feel and you get to decide how you want to respond ahead of time. So if you're going into the holidays for Christmas and you already know that there's somebody you don't want to deal with, maybe you are sharing custody with your ex and you know that you're going to have to interact with their significant other and you're not so excited about that. What thoughts are you having in your mind about interacting with your ex and his or her significant other that is making you feel the way that you do? And the work of becoming your highest self is knowing that you get to decide ahead of time how you want to feel, how you want to respond, how you want to act. So what I want you to do in these moments is really just shut your eyes, right? Sink into your body, get grounded, and ask yourself, who do I want to be? How do I actually want to respond? Because what I hear a lot of my clients say is like, oh, I wish that I could just be in the same room with them and not want to like scream at them. Or I wish I could just be in the same room with them and not like, completely feel like I'm going to have a meltdown or an anxiety attack when I'm around them. And you can. It's a decision. You get to decide ahead of time. So you sink into your body and you ask yourself, how do I want to respond to this person? How would I respond if I was already my highest self? That's really what you want to ask yourself. How would I respond if I was already my highest self? Maybe your highest self can have a back and forth conversation with Uncle Raymond. Maybe your highest self can actually hug your ex's new girlfriend or significant other, right? And maybe your current self can never see even going near them, but your highest self, the person when you're being your best absolute self, when you are so proud of who you've become, so proud of all the work that you're doing, does that woman or man, if you're listening to this, does that woman or man hug on your ex's significant other, right? Not who you are currently today. We know who you are currently today. We're working to grow and be better and do better and become our highest self. So if that's something your highest self would do, what thoughts would you need to be thinking, or what do you want to be feeling in order to get to that place? And that's the work that we do inside of Inner Mastery and my one-on-one coaching clients, and now what we'll be doing in the Becoming Her Mastermind, where you'll have lifetime access to me if you want it. We'll be doing all of that work so that you can actually transform your life, because it's going to take new thoughts. It's going to take new feelings in your body. You have to retrain your brain. Your brain is going to do, as long as you let it, everything it's always done in the past. It's going to pop off on Uncle Raymond. It's going to want to ignore your ex. It's going to want to scream at the new girlfriend. It's going to want to do everything it's done in the past. That's what our brain is always searching for, past evidence of how we've responded. So if you're wanting to step into your highest self, that means being a new you. You don't get to be the you you've always been. I know I've said this before, but you don't get to. So that is one way that you can approach the holidays. How do I want to respond? Who do I want to be? What is it going to take for me to be able to embody that and then step into that woman or man? And then you have the side of you too, that being around a lot of people can be very energetically draining. I understand this because I tend to be very energetically drained whenever I'm around a lot of people. And a lot of times it's because I'm so empathetic, I'm absorbing a lot of people's energy. So I'm going to teach you some strategies to clear your energy and make sure that you feel good going into the holidays and coming out of the holidays. So going into the holidays, a lot of times I have to ground myself before we even leave the house. And that could be some deep breaths, a few of those, right? To just really ground myself. Another thing that I do is sage. White sage. I don't know if you've ever used it before. You burn it. It looks like a big stick of dried leaves. You can normally get it at your local health food store. If you've got a Whole Foods, a Rainbow Blossom, if you've got kind of a spiritual store around you in your area where they maybe sell like stones and whatever, you can find these sage bundles. You can also find it online. You're looking for white sage. You can also do Palo Santo. But I prefer white sage. It cleanses the air. I think there's actually been studies where it kills 98% of airborne bacteria and viruses and stuff like that. So it's also good for that. But it was used in ancient times to like clear things out. And it feels really, really good like to do that before or after an event where you're around a lot of people. I think they're like $7.99 for a big bundle, $2.99 for a little tiny bundle. I keep them with me. Like a lot of times I'll have one in my car, and I also keep them at home. And my husband and I will sage when people have been over at our house after they leave to like clear out all the extra energy. Or we'll do it before we have to be somewhere because we want to come in as our highest and best self, and we want to be able to interact as our highest and best self. And sometimes we're carrying the gunk of a lot of other people, or if we haven't cleared ourselves, we can welcome in other people's junk. So I think that's a lot of times why people feel overwhelmed being around a lot of family in the holidays, is because not only are you trying to keep your energy good, but sometimes if you're an open vessel, you'll take in everybody else's energy, and then you feel like you have to go home and recharge for 3 days and be around no one because you've let too many people in. So saging to clear your energy before an event can be really good, but clearing it after you get home and just washing yourself of that also feels really good. I will take long baths sometimes after company leaves and just like kumbaya my mind because I do tend to take on people's energy. But I also wanted to let you know that you can block yourself as an energy receiver as well before going into the holidays by just setting an intention that you want to be able to hold space for the people that you're around without taking on their energy and their emotion. And so that is something that you can say to yourself, maybe with your eyes closed in a very like meditative state, or just set that intention and remind yourself of it several times when you're with the people. You can draw almost like an imaginary bubble around yourself. I learned that from my Reiki master teacher. Like imagine, putting this barrier around your body. So you basically just draw a big circle around your body and say like, I am blocked off from anybody's energy and absorbing anybody's energy. And I know that sounds so silly and it sounds a little out there, but it truly can make a really big difference. So between the mindset work of how do I want to feel, who do I want to be? How do I want to respond to the people that maybe in the past it's been very difficult to be around? Do that work, which, is going to be addressing all of your mind drama and the things that you need to work on with your mind. But then on the other half, have those physical things that you can do to really release and clear your energy so that you're happy and healthy for the holidays. So I hope that this episode helps you kind of go into the holidays and just, in a space where you feel excited to be around everybody that you're going to be around. And if not, also remember that it's totally okay to set boundaries. If Uncle Raymond is being rude and making you uncomfortable, or your children uncomfortable, or anybody uncomfortable, it is also okay and a part of your highest self to create boundaries. And if you don't really know how to set powerful boundaries, go back and listen to, I think it's episode 3, 4, or 5 or something like that, about setting boundaries. That will give you all of the tools to go into the holidays and understand how to do that powerfully, so that if it's somebody you absolutely don't want to tango in their energy and you don't want them tangoing in yours, that you have a plan of action that you're going to do should they be, in a space where you're not ready to engage with them, right? Setting boundaries will help you do that. So I hope that this helps you. If you all have any questions at all, let me know. I hope you have a happy Monday and a great week, and I will see you next episode.